Good morning, New Thought family. Good morning. That's what I'm saying. You know I'll come for you. And it's a good thing. Steve and I are so grateful to be here once again in this fabulous new space. It's beautiful. It feels like home because you are the church. You and you and you. So wherever you go, you bring it with you. And that's a joy, and you've inhabited this space. And it's good. Take a breath. I love it. You can't make this stuff up. You can't write it. Today, in one of my favorite readings, the Daily Word, it says, "Wholeness is my nature. I am innately whole and healthy." And then it says, "Divine life is real, abiding and eternal. And I am life and expression. I am life and expression. I am life and expression." Know that with me together. I am life and expression. Again, I am life and expression for the Trinity. I am life and expression. Breathe out. So anyway, I don't particularly like to go to the doctors too often. I know that I have to. Am I alone in this thing here, And so when you go, the first thing they want to know is what's happening with you. And they begin to take information. Some of them, if they're thorough, they look at you. They look at your eyes. I had an old family doctor who would take my hands and hold my hands. And many years later, I realized how intuitive he was. By looking in one's eyes and holding hands, you can feel a lot and know a lot about what's going on in a person's being, and not just the external. You can feel if they're nervous, agitated, right? Jittery. They began to do things like checking out pulse, check your heart. They want to see what your vital signs are. They want to know what's going on with you, what are the basics, what's happening inside and outside. They're important, vital, because vital means necessary. These things we need to know just to make sure that we're on the page that the caregiver wants us to be on. So they look at these things: temperature, blood pressure, heart rate, respiration, how many times you're inhaling and exhaling, to get a picture of you. And that's important. They can tell whether or not there might be an immediate condition that needs to be looked at. I was looking at Centers for Disease Control, and one of the stats is over 25% of adults in this country have hypertension or high blood pressure. That's one of the vital signs. Where are you? What is the pressure when your heart is beating? So I thought about that and said, we're looking at something that about a quarter of the population is experiencing that is outside what they call outside of normal limits. They have a range, so it's beyond that normal range. And they say hypertension. And depending on how high it is above the normal range, they may or may not prescribe medication. They may or may not say, return so I can check you out. Let's keep a look on it. They may or may not say, let's adjust your diet. They may or may not say, not this, yes, that. They may ask you about stress, because now stress is the big thing they're studying. Many of us have known this for years, that stress affects everything. But they want to know what your state of being is at the moment, and if there's any intervention that needs to be done. And this is important. But this morning, I want to share with you in the next few minutes about another set of vital signs that, for me, is extremely important. Where are you spiritually? How are you living? in this now moment? Are you living or merely existing? Are you drawing in breath and letting it out? Are you going to sleep at night and waking up in the morning? Are you moving through your day with a routine? Are you moving through your day with a routine that isn't always inspiring, fulfilling, making you happy? The two things I want to look at in your vital signs are, how are you living with prayer? And how are you living in joy? When you think about where you are right now in your life, is there any area of your life that might need a little life support? Any areas that might need an infusion, the equivalent of a vitamin B12 shot because your energy's a little low? Maybe you need a little pick-me-up. Where are you in terms of what you're doing in your daily life? Whether you're employed in a vocation or you've made a switch over into something and you're having fun in an avocation. I don't really say the word retirement, I call it rewirement. Retirement just sounds so, ugh. Maybe you're in that point in between where you're thinking about the rewiring of your life and making that switch. Or maybe you're just blissfully happy and filled with joy. And you're saying, what is this woman up here talking about? I'm doing just fine. I don't need anything there. Just in case tomorrow or 6:02 this evening, the joyful bliss that might be existing right this moment slips a little bit, because as human beings, we sometimes slip in and out of spaces. We slip in and out of our lives. Just want to share a couple of things with you about vital signs. Anyone ever have the experience that, okay, I'm going to do this, and this is going to be just right. This is going to be fantastic, and I know it's going to happen. I have the points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and they're going to flow flawlessly. And then all of a sudden, life happens and just takes you out of that fantastic flow of 1 to 10. Oh, this didn't go the way I planned it. Wait a second, I didn't think X would happen, or that Y would step back into my life, or that Z would leave my life, or that I would feel this way and I go and find out something's not right in my physical being, or that something happened to take me totally off the track of life I was going on, and I have to deal with something internal and I'm not able to cope. Or maybe something very difficult has happened and you're in a grieving process. Whatever the issue is, if there's ever been, or if you ever encounter a moment in your life where it feels lifeless, it feels dry, that vim and vigor, that vitality seems to have ebbed because it's not flowing at the moment, we are so blessed with the innate ability to rejuvenate. It's part of our being. It's what we are. It's already in there. We already have that perfect part of us that is never separated. Because all those things, when I talk about life happening, it's about separation. And separation from what? Separation from source. Source doesn't leave Kathy. Kathy forgets. It's always there. It's always alive. It's always willing. It does nothing but love. That vital force that lives in us, that energy, that light, is love. It's love in action. And sometimes I forget about that. And what do I do when I hit that proverbial brick wall? and I don't feel the get up and go. I don't feel the vigor. I don't feel the desire to continue on with whatever I'm doing. I go to my source. And what's wonderful is we have so many touchstones and all different kinds of literature and inspirational readings that we can go to. And one of my favorites is in the Hebrew scriptures, and this prophet named Ezekiel, one of the 4 major prophets, he was a visionary. He saw stuff, and he saw stuff in a big way. And one of the things that I remember reading about as a kid, because I have little stories from the Bible, and it was about him seeing this vision of a valley of all these dry bones, desolate. And just imagine hundreds just strewn all over the place. And he has this exchange in his vision with his source. And the question is, can the dry bones live? And I thought about that. I have had some dry bones in my life where a career didn't go the way I wanted it to go. Or the person I was depending upon decided their path was going to be different than mine, and I was just left there wondering what to do. That amazing plan that we had is no longer a we, and I have no clue how to move forward. It was a dry space. It was a void. It was a time when nothing looked right, tasted right, felt right, seemed right. If that's happened to you, or if it's happening at the moment, I am so grateful, and I know I'm not the only one here, who knows that corners can be turned. And who knows, just like in that little story, when he envisions and says, okay, yes, because Spirit says these dry bones can live. And they begin to gather together, bone to bone. And then he's instructed to prophesy or to speak over this vast, what looks like a wasteland. And stuff happens. The bones come together, and all of a sudden, flesh goes on the bones. And the next thing you know, in his vision, these bones are up on their feet. And they're no longer just bones, but fully covered. And I said, what does that mean for me? It means whatever is dry in my life, whatever seems to not be happening the way I want to happen, I can do what he did. Prophesy is nothing but what we all know how to do, because it was demonstrated here this morning. We pray affirmatively. We speak the truth over that situation. We say what is true is God is always here, because God is where, you sang it, in my heart, always present. And when I forget, I can tap right into that source and know, oh, wait a minute, what I'm looking at, what I'm seeing is not necessarily the truth. It's an appearance, and appearances are temporary. And appearances can be altered. Now, it may be a fact of the moment. Let's look at facts versus truth. The fact may be that area is dry. The fact may be the circumstances changed. The fact may be I have a depletion in my savings right about now. The fact may be that my significant other, who I thought was my significant other, is somebody else's significant other in that moment. The fact may be that I have to move from a comfortable place. The fact may be my place of employment closed down. That's the fact. But facts can change. Truth never does. Truth continues. Truth is changeless. The truth is that I am alive and well, and with each breath that I take, I have yet another opportunity to prophesy over my life, to speak affirmatively in my life, to claim the truth that God is and always it is well, that there is no place that I can be where the power and presence is not, that fact is temporary. I can invoke the power of life, because we all have it, the power of life that is always there inside me I can breathe into it, and with my affirmative speaking, my affirmative prayer, I can claim it. We can always claim life. The beauty of truth is that no matter what is happening in your life, we always have choices. And I today say, I choose life. Because in God is a win-win. We might have to walk through a dry valley. We might have to walk through a space of what looks like nothing, lack, limitation, impossibility. But in truth, if I begin my affirmative prayer, I can stand firmly, feet grounded in truth, and hold my ground and say, yes, there is life. Yes, I am alive. Yes, I am whole. Yes, I am an abundant creation created in the image and likeness of my Creator. I can say I am filled with life, sweet life. Life, the ability to energize, vitalize, enliven, animate, and invigorate. I can claim this gift of divine life. We have to activate it. So it's always present. The Holy Spirit, which is the whole Spirit of God, is always present. Am I aware of it? Am I awake? Am I claiming it? Am I giving thanks in advance for it? Because whatever we give thanks for multiplies. Am I living in fear? Or am I stepping out in faith? We all have all the faith we require, right here and right now. The question is, which direction is your faith pointed? Is your faith pointed in the direction of impossibility or possibility? Faith is pivotal. Where are you getting your signals from? Where are your vital signs registering from? Are they registering from what you see outside, which may not support what looks like life to you? Or are you registering from the inside out? Are you getting your signals from that perfect part of you that always is? And are you claiming it? It's about awareness. So we look at our spiritual vital signs. We have our tools of prayer and meditation to reground us, get us back on track. What does prayer do? It doesn't change the situation. It changes my thoughts about it. It changes my perspective about it. It changes my awareness level. It elevates me to a higher awareness, to my higher consciousness, to know my connection always was and always will be. Why? Because God is and always will be. It doesn't change. That golden thread that's in us from the beginning of the beginning. Because if we're created in the image and likeness of our Creator, who's good, who's love, then we're good and we're love. I might forget. I might forget I'm good. I might forget I'm love. But that doesn't change the truth. It's my perspective of it. Mary Kupferle, a New Thought writer, says, true prayer is an inner attitude, not a certain outer position or posture. It makes no demands concerning time or location. So right where you are, at your place of business, at home, on the street, you can pray and pray effectively with affirmative prayer. One thing I love about prayer is it gets me in touch with joy. And I specifically mean joy. Joy is an inside job. Joy is not contingent upon what's happening outside of me. Joy is on the inside. So as I begin to think about what I'm grateful for, I begin to think about the life that's actually present in my body right now. I activate the joy. And by activating the joy through my affirmative prayer, my vital signs pick up. And I begin to live life, and I begin to live it more abundantly. I am alive, alert, and enthusiastic about my life. I am alive, alert, and enthusiastic about my life. Know that with me. I am alive and alert and enthusiastic about my life. That's right. F. Scott Fitzgerald said, vitality shows in not only the ability to persist, but in the ability to start over. We can always begin again and revitalize that spirit that is in us that seems dormant and call on the power within to activate this marvelous gift of life. Where are your vital signs? I am so grateful. And so it is.